Welcome to our little question and answer session right now with the filmmaker Fanny Chotimah. She is the director of the documentary You and I. Uh, it's an amazing documentary for me. It follows the lives of two women who are called Kamina and Kusdalini, who live in Surakarta on the island of Java in Indonesia, and both of them have got a past in which they were in prison in the year 1965, I believe, because of the anti-communist purges that was initiated by President Suharto. So that is a part of Indonesian history, which I think, to be completely honest, as a Singaporean, as someone who grew up on the American side of the Cold War, we often hear that the communists were evil people. So we think about in Cambodia, Pol Pot and the genocide. We think about the Vietnamese during the Vietnam War. And there's very little discussion actually about the anti-communists who were no less violent, who committed like all these atrocities and massacres as well. So actually watching your documentary has been such a quite a painful experience also to feel that there was all this propaganda that I grew up with, to think that only the communists were bad and the people who are anti-communist were on the good side. Yeah. Okay, so maybe I'll start with a few questions about your making of this film. Yeah. And I'm so surprised at, I think, the kind of access and trust that your two documentary subjects have given you. So I want to find out, like, how long did that process take for you how did you first know them?
Okay. My first encounter with them is from the photography book, actually. My friend, he's a photographer, Adrian Mulya. He made a survivor book photography, like their profile, yeah. One of them is Kamina and Kusdalini. So I met them at the first in that book. During the time, I met them in person. And actually, we live in the same district, so it's quite near from my house. So it's really easy for me to visit them anytime I want.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so
So
you all are like neighbors in the
yeah,
same
yeah,
neighborhood.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
It's just the same district. So
Right.
I visit them a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, very
Can I
often.
just check which year was this?
Oh, 2016. It
2016.
began in
Okay.
2016. So it you
Right.
can say it was a research, yeah, research
Mm-hmm.
stage at that time.
Right.
So at the first, I just want to know to know them
Mm-hmm.
more up close and personal, just to visit them, hear their stories.
Yeah.
But I fell in love with them. Like
Mm-hmm.
they so beautiful, so
Mm.
warm. Everyone will fall in love with them. Yeah.
Right.
So I feel like I will, if I the only
Mm.
person who know how beautiful they are, it's so unfair for the world.
Mm.
So the documentary film come up,
Yep.
yeah, yeah. So
Right.
so I told them like, can I make you as a film documentary, and they're
Mm.
really welcome because we are already friends at that time, yeah,
Right. I
yeah.
see. Okay. Okay.
So
That's
yeah.
That's interesting. So as people who were once branded communists, right?
Yeah,
These two
yeah,
women, and also stigmatized
yes,
by their
stigmatized.
immediate
Yeah,
community. I'm just wondering, was it difficult for them to trust you?
yeah. I mean, more or less, yeah. But
Mm-hmm.
I introduce myself
Mm-hmm.
as me, as
Yep.
what I'm doing here, as like I always also told them the story of my everyday my life and my
Right.
activity. So
Yeah.
they know my profile and they trust me. Yeah.
Okay. Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's a mutual relationship. Yeah.
Okay.
What
Okay.
say? Yeah. Mhm.
Right. So, would you say, how long do you think before they completely trusted you, or was it like the first meeting and they saw what a nice person you are, and they're like, okay, we let her into
No,
our
no.
lives.
Of course, it takes time. Yeah, like three
Mm,
or 4 months.
I
Yeah, it takes
see. Okay.
time. So and also bring the camera and I ask them, can I record them if they convenient, of course. If they not, I don't use it. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Were they surprised that there were young people who would be interested in their stories?
They're surprised and like why us? We are old, like we are cracked. Why you choose us? Yeah, they asked me that question a lot. So I
Right.
told them that we need your story because I also grew up in a New Order Suharto regime. I was taught and in my school history is all black and white,
Right.
like communist is evil like that. So and also I witnessing a stigma
Right.
for the survivor in the society. So I
Mm-hmm.
think it's not fair because you are like angel, they're so like godmother. So
Right.
like in so you look like fairy in the cartoon, with the same dress and nice person. It's so unfair. And also, if they told me about their story when they're also young, like me, like us,
Yeah.
and they don't know what happened. They're really young. They're doing a good activity, what they believe,
Right.
in choir,
Mm-hmm.
and then they just they put in jail for the reason they don't know. There's no trial, and
Right.
they have to spend their life in just
Prison.
in prison, and after that they don't have a future. They don't have
Right.
future.
Yeah, I felt that was really one of the greatest tragedies that even after they went out of prison, society became another kind of prison for them because they were marked as communists, right?
Yeah, marked as communists, they don't
Mm,
have the opportunity to have a better education,
right.
better life. Yeah, it's so
Hmm.
unfair.
Right. And I understand that they did not get married either.
Yeah.
Mm.
She said that this is the resiko perjuangan, how you call it?
Okay. So this is one of the risks of the struggle, right?
Yeah, risk of
I
the
see.
struggle because they still traumatized. Like
Mm-hmm.
when they got in prison,
Yeah.
their family also being asked, their father, their mother, their brother. So they don't want if it happen again. If they have a family, they have children,
Gosh.
they have husband.
Mm.
They will through that that uh,
Right. So
yeah
they might put their own family
yeah
members in
yeah
danger, right?
yeah
That
yeah
was that. My
yeah
gosh. So there was
yeah
still so much fear around that.
yeah yeah
Yeah.
yeah
So just to give some of our non-Indonesian viewers some context, Suharto's new order was basically when Suharto was the president in Indonesia for a period lasting, I believe, between 1965 to
yeah
1998, right?
yeah
And
25 years, I guess.
right.
Yeah
Yeah. So it was a period that was actually marked by authoritarian rule,
yeah yeah
marked by very intense anti-communist
yes
sentiment as well. And it is believed, of course, that the Americans supported
yeah
uh, the Suharto regime as part of the whole global Cold War efforts,
yeah
right? And
yeah
I think that's one of the tragedies about the Cold War, that it was cold for the US and the
yeah yeah
USSR, but it was hot in so many other places, especially in Southeast Asia, right? In
yeah yeah
Vietnam and
yeah
Indonesia. And yeah, okay. Um, so we have a question from one of the viewers,
yeah
who watched the film. And just for context, in the film, we have the character of Kamina,
yeah
who is taking care of Kusdalini,
yeah
right? Because they are not married, they do not
yeah
have children, so in
yeah
their late age, they are depending on just one another. So the question from our viewer is: after Kusdalini has passed away, what happened to Kamina?
it's really a tough year for Kamina.
Hmm.
I'm so emotional.
Oh dear. Okay. I'm sorry.
So she tried to survive, but she also passed away.
I see. Okay.
Yeah, I tried to accompany her during that year,
Yeah.
up here, but she like don't have a purpose anymore
I see.
to live. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So they're really soulmate.
Right.
So actually, the death story is so irony. I mean, the tragedy, but also they find each other in the prison.
Right.
And that's a relationship, that friendship makes them survive for each
Right.
other. Yeah. So
Right.
when they lose each other, it's so hard to be, yeah, to be alone. I mean.
Right.
Mm.
Um, so what was interesting to me about the passing of Kusdalini was that
Mm.
it seemed to echo what happened earlier in their lives, in the sense that so I believe Kusdalini was in prison for 2 years,
Yes.
and Kamina was for 7 years,
7 years.
right? Seven
Yeah.
years, right? So what happened? She was telling this story that actually Kusdalini left
Yeah.
prison earlier than she
Yeah.
did. Yeah,
But he always visits her.
right. Yes,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
but this idea that Kusdanini left and then after that she fainted,
Yeah.
because I guess you just feel your soulmate being
Yeah. Yeah.
torn away
Yeah.
from you,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then this happened later on, I think, with the death as well, because
Yeah.
again Kusdanini, said
Yeah.
goodbye first
Yeah. Yeah.
and left her, and not long after, as you
Yeah.
mentioned, I mean, she passed away
Only
herself.
took, yeah, 1 year, almost
Mm,
1 year. Yeah.
yeah. So that for me was such a poignant moment for me. That Kusanini has left, but I guess she's waiting for Kamina outside the prison walls.
Yeah.
In another place outside
Yeah.
of this earthly world as well. Yeah. And I must say, I think also important for me is to see the humanity of these two people, and I think you really it was such a gift for us, for the audience, that to be brought into their lives, and it was so important that we could see their humanity, their mortality, their vulnerability, their frailties, because when people hear the word communist, and especially in a place like Indonesia, it's still being used. So I believe the word for it is momok, right?
Yeah.
Momok
Yeah.
momok kan. So
Yeah. Yeah.
it's like a bogeyman. When you
Yeah.
say communist, people think monster.
Yeah.
People think people who even do stuff like denounce God or even drink blood, or
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
crazy
Yeah.
rituals. So the propaganda was really so strong. And then to see these women who are just trying to survive, who are just like all of us,
Yeah.
who also fall ill, who take care of one another, who are actually so full of love for one another. I think that was one thing that really, really touched me. And I really hope many, many people get to watch this film. Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah. So a few other questions
Yeah.
regarding some of the choices that you made as a director. I I must say I've been really impressed by how much access you managed to get, right? So they allow you into their homes, they allow you into the hospital as well. And I sometimes wonder, do you ever feel that there are times when, oh, this seems like it's too much of their private life?
Yeah.
As a filmmaker, when do you decide, okay, there are things I cannot show because it's too private, it's too much. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I also took care of them, so
Mm-hmm.
the access it's just by natural, yeah, it's
Right.
even natural.
Yeah.
My camera person, my sound person is women also, so
Mm.
they're comfortable. So
Right.
in the hospital, we accompany
Mm.
them, yeah. So we take care of them.
Right.
Uh, so I think it's about the access.
Mm.
And for me, when I have to yeah, stop or keep record or stop
Mm-hmm.
about their private,
Yeah.
it's just like if we have a friend and we know something we already know what they convenient or not, or
Mm-hmm.
we know how to back out
Right.
outside.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's hard to tell
Mm-hmm.
the method or yeah, but I know I just know at
Okay.
that time. So
Right.
yeah, yeah. I guess it you can see it in the film
Mm.
where I put myself in the emotional moment. I guess. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I guess because you have been so close and you've been brought into their confidence,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think definitely you are aware what the boundaries might
Yeah.
be,
Yeah. Yeah.
and you
Yeah.
be respectful of that. I definitely saw that, and I think it also led me through a kind of like mental exercise where I was thinking, actually, if this was a male filmmaker, the gaze of the
Yeah, yeah,
camera would be
yeah,
actually quite different, and I
yeah,
might be troubled by some of the gazing because they are, you see their bodies,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah,
You see the toll that time has taken on their bodies, so they show their legs and
yeah,
their
yeah, yeah,
pains are and all
yeah,
that. And I feel like with a male filmmaker, I'd be a bit more troubled by where the camera is going, Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
I also want to ask whether, I mean, it's such a moving work. I found myself crying at several times, while watching it. Um, and I can't imagine you as a filmmaker in that space itself, um, filming everything. I mean, were there points when you yourself also broke down,
yeah.
or did you always have to keep a professional kind of distance throughout? Share with us.
Oh, yeah. There's the time I also crying with my camera, yeah, during the film.
Mm,
At the time when Kamina also crying when she spooning Kusdalini.
right.
Yeah,
Mm,
yeah. That time I also crying a lot
right.
because it's too emotional. Yeah.
Wow. But did this sort of affect the filming? Did you have to like, okay, we have to stop or take a break, or I need a smoke? Yeah.
Yeah, I keep continue, but
Mhm.
yeah, try to put myself together as a professional. Yeah,
Sure.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. No, I, so I mean, all these questions about what is the professional and what is the personal, I, and
yeah,
and
yeah,
and I feel that when we are making art, I think sometimes we acknowledge that actually there's a lot of emotional investment, yeah, in these works. Even though I feel that the camera that in your film, a lot of the times it's still, and I
yeah,
think even in terms of the composition, I always feel there's a part in which you want to protect your subjects.
yeah,
Yeah. So there are moments when there was one beautiful moment for me when actually you take um, a shot of Kamini's back
yeah.
and she's
In the kitchen,
cooking
in the
in the
kitchen.
kitchen.
Yeah,
That's right. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
And actually that for me was such a beautiful shot because as a viewer we are just led to imagine how she's feeling,
yeah,
and I felt, I mean, this is a personal thing. I lost my mother to cancer 5 years ago.
yeah. Sorry to hear that.
Yeah, yeah. So, all the moments of the caregiving, when you're trying
Yeah,
to feed and
yeah,
then she
yeah,
clenches her teeth and you're trying to spoon all that
yeah.
liquid into the mouth. So, I remember one night just passing her room, and by that time she had like shaved her head bald and all. Um, and I could only see her back,
Mm,
and it was raining.
mm,
So she was just looking out the window.
mm.
And I think just that image, just thinking like, what is she thinking at that moment, and I think you really captured that much more sensitively and poignantly than if you just pointed the camera at her face,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
That distance, yeah,
yeah,
from the back. So I must say this film has affected me in so many ways because it's on a political level.
yeah,
I feel angry, I feel quite outraged by this, but of course on a personal level I can see, you know the what happens when you witness someone slipping away from you,
yeah.
right? When you witness someone sort of vanishing. um, One last question, yeah. um, and I'm wondering, I mean, I'm so glad that your film is nominated for the, is
Thank
it the
you.
Indonesian Film
Yeah,
Festival?
yeah, yeah.
Okay, so that's gonna be results announced tomorrow.
Yes, tomorrow
So,
night.
okay, so
Celebration
good
time.
luck. I
Thank
really
you.
hope, yeah,
Thank
this
you.
gets an award. Even if it doesn't, I hope many people watch it, because I
Yes,
believe there's so much in it for everyone, right? There's a deep human story about this beautiful friendship between these two women, but there's also the whole political tragedy behind it. I want to ask, so there are moments in the film when there's this talk about investigations into
yeah.
the 1965
The
massacres.
meeting, yeah.
That's
The
right.
survivor
Yeah,
meeting.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I wonder whether there's gonna be a moment when Indonesia will have a truth and reconciliation moment regarding 1965. I mean, are we close to that? Is that ever going to happen, in your opinion?
In my opinion, it's really hard to see it because
Mhm.
it depends on the government.
Right.
But the government is there even now in reformasi, in
Hmm.
reformation.
Mm.
The issue is still too sensitive because communist it's anti-religion.
Right.
Yeah, it's really hard.
Mm.
So fanatic, the
Yep.
fanatic, yeah, it's so uh, uh, didn't agree for the reconciliation. Yeah.
Mm.
But in the society, I see in the new generation, the society, I see the the change. Yeah,
Yeah.
they more open with the discussion,
Right.
and I hope this film will open for discussion and also
Mm.
for people who don't stigmatize
Right.
anymore for the
Yeah.
survivor. Yeah, they will accept them in the society.
Right. Yeah. But I mean, it's great to hear that young people
Yeah,
are trying to discover more about the
yeah,
history and not
yeah, yeah,
relying on the official or the state
yes,
history. I think
yes,
that's very promising. But
yes,
I also feel it's a bit of a race against time. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Because a lot of the survivors are getting
yeah,
old, and
getting
I think
old.
there's really a sense that we need justice
Yeah,
for
yeah.
them.
Hope
Justice is
there is
so
justice for
overdue.
them. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. I thank you so much
Thank you
for
so
this
much.
conversation.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think we've learned a lot, and I think hopefully a new dawn in Indonesian history,
yeah,
especially regarding all these survivors who I hope um, will have their image rehabilitated and will not
yeah,
feel so isolated anymore. I think
yeah.
you've done such an amazing thing in making that connection across the generations.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you so much, Fanny.
Thank you so much, Alfian.
This has been wonderful. Thank you. Okay.